Hello everybody and welcome to my kitchen. It's evening and that's because I'm going to make overnight bread, also called no-knead bread. It takes 413 grams of all-purpose flour, 5 grams of salt, 3 grams of active dry yeast, and 400 grams of water. You know, basic lean bread is flour, yeast, water. What am I missing? Salt. Flour, yeast, water, salt. 4 ingredients. You can make all different kinds of bread with just those 4 ingredients. But this is going to go together really quick, and then it's going to sit overnight and get baked in the morning. So you got to have your kitchen scale because we're measuring things in grams. And I have a dough bucket, which I'm going to put on the kitchen scale. Start it. Now you want to put your ingredients in your bucket in the order that they're listed. So the first thing is flour, and we need 413 grams. So we'll give it a couple of nice big scoops. This is a great bread recipe. Again, you have to plan ahead. You know, if you're going to make it for a meal on a Saturday, then Friday evening you're going to want to start it. But it's very, very simple. 413 is what we're shooting for. We're getting close. There's 400. This uses all-purpose flour. I don't need bread flour for this. I have other bread recipes that use bread flour, but there, 413. And then the next thing that I'm going to put in is the salt, and that's only 5 grams. So I'm going to zero out my scale. And be careful because I don't want to overdo the salt. There's 2.5, there's 3.5, there's 4.5. There's 5. And the yeast, it's calling for 3 grams active dry yeast. So again, zero out my scale. There's 1, 2.5. Don't need much more. More than that, I guess. There. 3.1 actually. And then the last thing I need is water. So this is the most basic bread. It's what they call a lean bread because there's no fat in it. So, zero it out. Don't forget. Come on. Where's my zero? There. 400 grams of water. $158. 244, 302, 355, 392, 401. All good. Okay, so now that everything is measured and it's in this cute little dough bucket, I'm going to give it a nice stir. See how quickly this all happens? Not a lot of fuss. You just got to know. Actually, it says 6 to 12 hours ahead of time is how long you're going to want to let it rest. So in theory, if you were having a meal that you wanted a nice loaf of bread for and you got up early enough in the morning, you could throw this together and give it 10 hours, 8 hours, whatever you got, and then bake it and serve it with your meal. All right, so it's all mixed up. It's just a shaggy, wet mess. Very, very wet dough. I'm scraping off the spoon, and then I'm going to put the lid on the bucket, and I'm just going to set it in my oven, cold oven, just setting it out of the way from the drafts, and let it sit there all night. And tomorrow morning, we'll take it out of the oven, and I'll be here to explain what we do next. It's very easy. So that's it for now. I'll see you again in several hours when the sun is shining, I hope, and we'll talk about baking the bread. Okay? Thanks for coming to my kitchen. Come back soon. Hi, folks. So 12 hours have gone by. My dough bucket has been sitting in the cold oven overnight. And let's take the lid off and have a look at it. Oh, just how this dough should look. All bubbly and jiggly. It's wonderful. Just what I wanted. So I'm going to dump it out on the breadboard. I'm not going to knead it, but I have to shape it a little bit. So that's what we're going to do. I put a little bit of flour on the breadboard. It's sticky dough. It's a wet dough. So that means it's very sticky. And my hands are going to get very sticky handling it. Anyway, my bowl scraper, getting the dough out of the bottom. I love that yeasty smell. Oh, there's nothing like the smell of bread. All right. Bowl scraper did its job. And I am going to put some flour on it. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to form it into a ball, and then I'm going to pop it into something to bake it in. Now, you can use some different things depending on what you have. I have a clay bread baking pot. Superstone, maybe it's not clay. Maybe it's, but it's some kind of clay-like material, and I put a piece of parchment paper inside so that the bread doesn't stick to it, even though it's got like a nice shiny finish inside. If you don't have a specific clay or stone bread baker, you could use what we used to call Dutch ovens. I don't know what they're called now. It's a big bowl with a lid. You really have to have a lid. I could put parchment paper in this. You know, this is something that I bake in. You have to have something big enough. It has to have a lid. You have to be able to bake it. So let's get back to our dough. Here's I'm going to start out using this to kind of bring it together a little bit. If you have your bowl scraper or a bench scraper, you can save your hands from getting some of the stickiness. Again, you can tell I'm not kneading it. I'm just bringing it together into a ball. And that's all I'm supposed to be doing at this point, is bringing it into a ball. So now I'm going to put some more flour in my hands so that I can scoop it up. And put it into my parchment lined baking bowl. And using the bowl scraper, I was able to do that with a minimum of getting my hands all sticky. All right, so now it's in the bowl. I'm going to put the lid on it, and I'm going to put it in my cold oven. And I'm going to turn the oven on to, I think it's 450 or 475. It's in the instructions. So take a look at the recipe, which is in the first comment. And once it's in the oven, it's going to sit for a half hour while the oven's preheating. And after a half hour, I'm going to take the top off, and it's going to stay in there for another half hour. And then I will take it out and show you the beautiful loaf of bread that we just made. So I'll be back. Don't worry, I'll be back with bread. Okay. So here we are. Bread is out of the oven after an hour of baking. First half hour with the cover on, second half hour with the cover off. And this is what it looks like. It's a nice little loaf, perfect for a meal or to dip in some nice olive oil with cheese. Maybe eat it with some nice slices of brie. Have it with a pasta meal, whatever. Easy, easy, easy bread. Don't be afraid to make it. You'll like it. And stay tuned for more bread videos. The next one I do will be a little more involved. But I hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you for visiting my kitchen. And until next time, have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.